Today we're checking out a new arrival from one of the leading names in the portable monitor space. UPERFECT's latest SKU, the UColor 19 Apex, comes loaded with specs that'll make anyone do a double take. We're talking 4K, 144Hz, QLED, and more. And while specs aren't everything, let me open with this. For me, this monitor dethrones their previous champion, the UColor O2 OLED, released earlier this year. So let's open it, plug it in, and see how it performs in real-world workflows, gaming, productivity, editing, and whether it's worth your time and money. Thanks to the team at UPERFECT for sending this in for review. As always, opinions are my own and no money changed hands. Alright, let's dive in. As the name suggests, this is a 19-inch panel with a pixel density of 231 ppi. For perspective, a 27-inch 1440p monitor sits at 108 ppi. The build is ultra slim at 7mm at its thickest point and roughly 17 by 9.8 inches, including ultra thin bezels of 5mm. Weight comes in at 1.4 kilograms or 3.1 pounds. More importantly, this one finally arrives with a proper integrated kickstand. If you plan to use a monitor arm, you also get VESA 75x75 support. For ports, you get two bidirectional USB-Cs that handles display, power, and pass-through charging for devices like phones, handheld PCs, and yes, it has a built-in docking support for both Switch 1 and Switch 2. Absolutely phenomenal. You can use your own Type-C cable or one of the included ones in the box along with the power adapter. Just note that the included 30-watt brick may not be enough for demanding handhelds such as a Switch 2 or PC handhelds. Consider bringing your own 60-watt brick if that's your main use case. You also get a mini HDMI port, a 3.5mm jack, and an OTG port. If you dock a handheld PC, that OTG port lets you plug in a controller or a USB stick. The caveat, it's micro USB, which is baffling. Still, with an adapter, it's easily solved. All of these ports sits behind the sturdy kickstand. The buttons for navigating the UI sits there as well, but the stand swings a full 180 degrees, so you never block access and still retain full VESA clearance. UPERFECT also sent a carrying bag. It isn't listed as a bundled accessory, so I assume it's sold separately. It has a soft interior and a zipper pouch for cables. So we're looking at a QLED panel. QLED isn't a panel type itself, it's an enhancement layer, and from what I can tell, the underlying panel is likely to be IPS. It's far too clean to be VA, and I noticed zero ghosting whether running at 60, 120, or 144 Hz across 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. Color coverage is excellent, and the matte treatment is very well tuned. You see it in bright environment, but to a much lesser degree versus many matte panels I've seen in my days. As someone who clearly prefers glossy, I can say this matte finish doesn't bother me. I don't feel robbed of colors or brightness or clarity. Using the navigation buttons, you get a fairly deep UI. For image control, there's brightness, contrast, black equalizer with 3 presets. In the switch menu, you can choose from standard, Switch 1, or Switch 2 video protocols. Now, as expected, settings can only be changed when the monitor detects a signal, so switching to Switch 2 mode without a compatible device nearby can be a bit tricky. Now, if left in Switch 2 mode, phones, tablets, and PCs still work fine. But from the future, you may know Nintendo has updated the Switch 2 with firmware 21.0.0, and that specific firmware breaks the compatibility with a lot of third-party docks. Now, this is not a dock per se, but the protocol used here to connect the Switch directly with one USB-C cable or the Switch 2 with one USB-C cable is essentially the same thing. And unfortunately, as of right now, the Switch 2 no longer works with the 21.0.0, but it definitely did before I mistakenly updated my Switch 2. So I don't know if UPERFECT is going to be able to put a new firmware for this, hopefully, but as soon as I know more, I reached out to them. As soon as I know more, I'll put a pinned comment in the comment box. From there, you get settings for saturation, hue, sharpness enhancement, and a 180-degree rotation. There's a signal info tab, a full reset, and an advanced menu. Advanced includes Ultra HDR mode and eye protection mode, 3D sound toggle, and a Freesync toggle. Alright, let's talk about HDR not supported by the EDID, which means that your PC will not natively detect HDR. Klef from the future again. As I was filming that portion where I showed show you my other Switch 2 that connects, it picked up on HDR, and what I was about to tell you in this video, the original script, is that HDR is not part of the EDID. And in fact, it isn't when on standard. You have a different EDID whether you're on standard, Switch 1 or Switch 2. If you're on standard, it doesn't natively see HDR capable. If you are on Switch 2 EDID, however, it does see the HDR capabilities through EDID. With that being said, if you do activate HDR, you still have to apply the Ultra HDR mode profile. And you know, it's going to be a hit and a miss in terms of the picture quality, but just thought I'd make an update here because that doesn't reflect what I originally said in my review. All right, let's continue. The standard mode, Switch 1 mode, and Switch 2 mode all have independent EDID. For example, if you're on the Switch 2 mode, you won't find access to 4K 144Hz. That is only achievable in standard mode. HDR can be forced, but don't expect it to match true HDR workflows. They are trial and error is the best way to put it. It's more like applying an HDR color space filter on the panel. Sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't. Now, enough of the technical detour. Back to what matters. And the image quality, when set to the right mode, is genuinely stunning. Colors are vibrant, brightness is strong, and motion clarity is excellent. It's not OLED, and even though I believe the 19 Apex is more compelling overall than the UColor O2, the O2 still holds the edge in D-blacks and instant response times. The O2 is 1 millisecond, whereas the Apex is 9 milliseconds. Still, the Apex closes the gap in ways that other LCD-based portable monitors haven't. It offers peak resolution and peak refresh rate in a package OLED portable monitors simply haven't yet reached. It doesn't outright beat OLED, but it stands shoulder to shoulder with its own advantages. It has better features, more flexibility, significantly better audio, and an integrated kickstand, to list a few. The 19-inch size is perfect as far as I'm concerned. Large enough to work on comfortably, small enough to travel with. As a console monitor through HDMI, it's excellent. With HDMI 2.1, you get full resolution output on Xbox Series or PS5. And as a second monitor for a MacBook, it shines for editing. More screen space means better precision and fewer compromises. And 19 inches simply feels better for real work compared to a 15 or 17-inch portable panels. So, with all that said and done, let's resume the pros and cons. Starting with the spectacular clarity at 4K on a 19-inch screen, it looks very sharp, very crisp. 144Hz refresh makes everything feel snappy, of course, granted if you have a device that can leverage that aspect. And the excellent colors and build quality using QLED with wide gamut, it really looks good. Another benefit specific to portable monitors is just the compact footprint. That's equally as great for productivity, gaming, and creative work. And then the integrated kickstand is definitely not always the case with every portable monitors, and then you have also a full VESA mount. I like the versatility of the port selection and having Switch 1 and Switch 2 docking needs, but how about the cons? Well, it needs a capable host device to fully enjoy 4K 144Hz. HDR and Freesync are not EDID enabled. The fact that they're there is nice, but truthfully, I can't think of many scenarios that they'll be useful. And then that micro USB OTG port is, again, it's baffling. I don't understand why this is the port to have OTG feature, which is amazing in itself. And then last but not least, the 30-watt power adapter won't suffice for many handhelds. But here's something that's neither a pro, neither a con, the price. It lands at $479 USD for pre-orders, which begs the question, is it a good deal? Well, you can find 19-inch panels for close to $100, but those don't belong in the same sentence. This isn't meant to compete with bargain panels. It's aimed at users who want quality and features. Is it a cutthroat deal? No, I wouldn't say so. Is it fairly priced? Genuinely, I believe that it is. Real question is whether you want a stationary monitor or one that travels with your handhelds, your phone, your tablet, your laptop. If portability and premium specs matter, this is absolutely worth your attention. And with that pixel density running at that full resolution is a sight to behold. To close the loop, the O2 still wins in deep blacks and response time, but the overall experience on the 19 Apex often feels more impressive. I can't help but be mesmerized in front of it, and what you lose is incredibly trivial versus what you gain. But what do you think? Would you stick to OLED for portable monitors, or does a great QLED panel like this one wins you over? Let me know in the comments. As always, consider liking and subscribing to not miss any future content. My name is Klef. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.